going on YouTube? It's your boy Steven back with another episode of Fernweh Life. And I figured I'd bring y'all along today as I did this service call on this old 88 Formula. Now this is still a go fast boat. Don't think because it's older that it's not. This still, I believe this one has the 7.4s in it. So yeah, regardless of its age, it's still a go fast boat. What's going on, gentle mom? I don't plan on it. Whew. It's a little bit warm out here today, pretty humid. So yeah, as I said earlier, I don't know if you were in here already, gentle mom, I'm doing a service call on this 88 Formula cigarette boat. It's a long-time customer, good guy. So we're going to get him done up real good. Make sure he's done right. Now, this boat, I love this boat. It's so simple. I was going to do this yesterday, but in the middle of getting ready to do this, I was sprayed in the face with a pesticide. So I wasn't able to go live because I had to go to the hospital and find out how to breathe again. I'm doing better, but you know, it is what it is. So today, this is part of what we're doing. Got some impellers, seawater housing for a seawater pump. And then on top of that, we have, I got down in my little box of goodies here. I've got a whole lot of stuff to do to this boat, but it can't all be done today. In fact, some of it I'm going to need another hand to do. So this is my channel will be a little bit about the bus and a little bit about boats and a little bit about a lot of stuff. So if you don't like boats, don't tune into the boat stuff. Those will probably be called service calls. But if you do, keep tuning in. Alrighty, now let's see what we got down here. That's twin Mercruiser 7.4 liter big block V8s. Now this boat here, it's a little old, still has carburetors on it, as you can see. Now one of the things that needs to happen before I leave today and after I cut this live stream off is I've got to take these carburetors off and get them back to the shop so I can rebuild it. But today, as I said, today all I'm doing is spark plugs and seawater pumps. 8 plugs a piece and then 1 seawater pump a piece. It's pretty simple stuff. You know, if you've ever worked on cars, you know how to change spark plugs. The seawater pump is a little different than anything that you do on a car, because on a car you have a water pump, and the water pump is driven by a belt. Now this is essentially a water pump that's driven by a belt, but it's got rubber impellers in it. And these impellers go bad from time to time, so you want to switch them out. And it's always a good idea to do a new housing as well, because these housings are hard PVC plastic. So, you know, it's good to go ahead and change them out whenever you change your impellers out with these old 7.4s. That way, in case you have any issues, you know, the heating up in there has degraded the metal any at all, you can go ahead and keep from having any future problems by changing them out. So I guess I need to go ahead and finish prepping this area. I didn't get to finish prepping it yesterday because, as I said, I was prepping it, and as I looked up out of the bilge right over here, Guy was walking by, pest control guy, was walking by and sprays that right there as I look up to grab this pig mat right here, And I look up and I look over because he's saying something to himself, and right as he goes up the pole, right into my face. And so that was a big battle. And boy, let me tell you, that's probably going to be a rant video I'm going to make. I wanted to make a rant video yesterday, but I was so pissed off. I didn't want to say anything that would be potentially damaging, because there might be a lawsuit that comes from this. The way things were handled, I feel like something needs to be done with it. So that's probably something that I am going to do. You know, from lying to me about what the chemical was, refusing me MSDS for over half an hour so I couldn't treat myself properly, you know, oh, they're going to pay for it. They're not well liked around here anyways, so I plan on making them disappear. So that's my goal with that. Money would be nice, but really more than anything, if the owner of the company is so unprofessional as to spray somebody in the face and then act the way he did, then I feel like he doesn't need to have a company like that anymore where he can do that. So I guess, well, that's enough of that right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw some more of these pig mats down in here so that way I can get started. Now, these pig mats are great things, and they are literally, they're brand label pig. Now, these things are oil mats. They soak up oil and residue and oily residues and stuff like that, and it keeps it from you tracking it out around the boat while you're getting in and out of the bilge. A lot of these boats, they don't want you wearing shoes, sandals, they just want bare feet. And I love it, because I mean, how many people do you know can go in shorts and sandals and go say they're a mechanic? Not many. All right, so I'm gonna finish putting these pig mats down in here, and then we'll crawl in here together and start working on this thing. All right. That pig mat's down. Now this is going to be interesting because I haven't really figured out quite where I'm going to put the tripod so you guys can see down in here. I might end up putting it on the seat right here. Let's see how this goes. Let's see. Will this stand up right there? Yep. And then there we go. All right. Now, as I said, these are basically almost like any car engine. Spark plugs are simple, so there's really not too much to show you with that. Oh. Ha! Forgot my tool bag right outside the boat, but it's still within reach. So that's now, the big difference between working on a car and working on a boat is the amount of space you have. Now, it looks like there's a ton of space down here, but I'm here to tell you, once you start getting into this, you realize how much space you actually lose in these big bilges, especially when doing seawater pumps and spark plugs. I pretty much am going to end up doing all of those for my company this season, because it's just really hard to get bigger people down in there. So enough talking about stuff. Let's actually get some work done so I can actually get some stuff done and go home today, where I still have another boat working. That's another thing about these older ones. As you get working on these newer ones, you forget some of the tricks to some of these older ones, like the fact that they have multiple belts instead of one serpentine belt. So you can't just loosen one tension and have the belt come off to what you need. So I'm going to put here, final tension for this. that's not going to fit in there. It's not really working out as well as planned. As I said, I've gotten so used to working on the newer motors when I come to work on these. It's a great thing to work on them. I love working on them, but I forget all the tricks because I'm used to doing new tricks. See, that's something I wasn't expecting, but I'm not too worried about. The bracket and pump, seawater pump, are both in together, so that makes it a little harder to do this change because I have to get around this pipe right here, this hose right here, in order to get to this bolt of the bracket. Now, with this having an enclosed cooling system and then a freshwater cooling system to cool the coolant, you don't want to remove anything of the closed coolant system because you want that to stay pretty much airtight. So, got to figure out a way to get in there. And I do think I can get a wrench in there. 5/8. This bolt should be 5/8. Yep. And I don't know who just joined. Oh, they left already. So it's all good. That's probably Ben. Definitely not a lot of room to do so. Got some leeway on that bolt, so I should be able to go down here on the bottom using this bolt for this one. Ready? Do this thing. Get a little hot down here. I have no idea who just joined in. I wasn't paying attention. I know YouTube doesn't like a lot of dead space, but I don't really know what I'll talk about while I'm doing this. I guess any random thing I'll say. Let's do it like that. I still can't see who's in here right now. I believe is that Maggie? They do not like to make this easy whatsoever. They don't like non-mechanically inclined people working on these things. It's an old joke that mechanics and engineers hate each other so much that engineers are always trying to get back at mechanics by making a mechanic's job as hard as possible. This motor sure is proof of that. Say there. Um, I've been working on cars for most of my life. Boats, really, I've only got an actual few months in on boats, but the boat systems are pretty easy. As long as you use common sense, you can figure out what you're really supposed to do with these things, and you're mechanically fine. As I said, a lot of these motors are just about the same as motors that you'll find in your everyday cars. Some of them are actually like race motors that you find in race cars. This anymore? It's gonna get stuck. It's already stuck. I got to find that hole. But yeah, good question, Maggie. I've been working on them for a short time. As I said before, I'm pretty mechanically inclined, so it's pretty easy for me to get used to the differences between the two kinds of systems and work out how to work them. Whew. Just like situations like that right there, where this pipe right here, and this is just, I love these things so much. I love working on them because there's not really much computer stuff to deal with. You've got minor computers that deal with some sending units and such. Otherwise, these things are, you make sure they got spark, make sure they got fuel, make sure they're getting water from the outside, and you can do just about anything with them. This boat right here, I winterized it a few years ago, and whenever we went to winterize it, there's too much gas in it for it to be successfully winterized, so we had to go out and run the gas out. And let me tell you, that was pretty fun. When I say that this is still a go-fast boat, even though it's a 1988, yeah, it's still a go-fast boat. It definitely kept some speed over the years. Oh crap, that pipe's God, I love this industry. Top so that way it can get air and drain, and hopefully I won't lose too much coolant out of this motor. Saying nothing new. I figured this would be an interesting live stream because I'm doing some interesting stuff, but I feel like I should have done more prep and had more of this stuff done, so that way it wasn't so much of me doing the boring stuff and getting on some more of the interesting stuff. Keep it content worthy. This is probably gonna get flagged from YouTube for not having a lot of decent content, because they like to flag anything that's not good content for one reason or another. Oh wow, that's nice and rusty in there. Now this J-pipe, as I said, is part of the closed cooling system. Oh boy. And so, as it being part of the closed cooling system, you can't really, you don't really want to get too much air in there, because then it won't turn through. Now, yeah, as it having a closed cooling system, that means that it runs coolant through a water pump just like a regular car would. Hey, shit's got to get done. If that doesn't get done in 90-degree weather with no air moving around in a tight space, then it's not going to get done. And there goes some coolant. Not much though. Probably going to drop a little bit more once I pull this out. Yeah, it's dropping. It's a good thing I got those pigments now to absorb stuff. Now that J-pipe's out of my way, let's get getting this shit done. probably cut this live stream and come back to it later whenever I've got more stuff done, so it's more interesting. You know, have this motor at least to the point where I can go ahead and do the freshwater pump on here and have that one mostly to the point where I'm taking stuff off. So that way I can do a quality live stream and not just you guys watching me do the board and shit. Well, as I said before, guess I can't turn that bolt out all the way and get that wrench off with that and with that water pump in the way, so I'm gonna have to get something else to get this. But let me tell you, whoever says the Midwest don't get hot enough, I ain't really been in the Midwest all that long. It gets plenty warm out here. Now that that J-pipe's out of the way. Now this is the bolt that I'm going to turn in to get tension on the belt. So that means that at the end of this bolt's going to go in by itself so that I can twist this and make it so that I can get tension on this belt. Right now, though, I just need it out of the way so I can get this whole unit off and start changing out that pump. Now, one thing that I love to say when I talk to people about this job, every boat is different. And when I say every boat is different, I mean it. You can get two of the same series. One came off the assembly line right after the other, and they're supposed to be exactly like it. But you'll find that things are in different locations, things are done differently, they use different kinds of parts, because they evolve their thinking as they build these things. They'll build one, and they'll see something as they're building it that doesn't quite work well, and so on the next one they'll say, you know what, we're going to change that one thing and see if that works, see if that fixes the problem we're having. And then the next thing you know, you've got all these boats, every single one of them is done completely different. And not easy. Now that I've got this to this point, I can reach the hoses on the back of the seawater pump and get the hose clamps off. Now these hose clamps, one of them goes to a C strainer and that a C cock. And that C cock, C cock. That C cock opens up and you open up the valve on it and it lets water in, and this thing will suck that water up and shoot it to a heat dissipator. And what's in that heat dissipator is the coolant that's in this closed coolant system, because this thing doesn't have an open air radiator, so air can't get to the radiator to cool the coolant down. It's essentially got a water to water cooling system. So the enclosed cooling system keeps the motor cool, and the seawater pump and the sea cock keep the coolant cool. My boss says I like to cheat on these things the way that I do it because I'm so small, I can get to spaces that other people can't. And I say I'm small, I'm 6 foot, and I weigh about 165 pounds. At one point I was 180, but, you know, as was pointed out, working in this 90-degree heat in these bilges where there's no air moving, you tend to sweat a lot. So it's hard to keep weight. That, and I have trouble keeping weight anyways, no matter what I do. Come on. Oh, let's turn under. Love I love it when people do stuff like this. It just goes to show they couldn't reach. They couldn't reach over around to get this on. And instead of doing it with the seawater pump off of the motor, which would make it easier, which is why the boss says that I cheat, they do it in a way where they can reach and makes it harder all the way around to go back and redo it later on. But as I said, I have skinny and long enough arms that I can reach in places most people can't, and that makes it easy to do stuff like this. All right, there's one seawater pump off. Now, I guess what I'm just going to do for this live stream, keep saying I'm going to cut it off, come back later, because this is progressing so quickly, I do believe I can go ahead and at least get this seawater pump done in this stream, and then I'll just go ahead and cut it off from there. Okay, now as I showed earlier, with the seawater kits, where did I put it? There it is down there. Okay. Bam! There's them superpowers back at work again. Guess that neurotoxin wore off already. But, now this is the piece that goes back here. And as you can see, it matches up and goes straight into this brace here. Now it uses a 1/2-inch bolt. So I've got my trusty dusty impact gun here, and I hope this is all it needs. And I don't have to. Oh, gonna have to go get a new battery. All right. Well, that's going to put a damper on things, but luckily for me, I still have old school methods. Crap. Oh, that's the wrong housing for this one. That's why that housing is in the. All right, so one thing that you'll find, and you know, it's not necessarily that this is the wrong housing. It's just this housing may not have been gone through right. And so there was a lot of pressure right here on this point. Whenever the impeller would turn, it turns, if you see, this is oblong and football shaped, so it puts pressure at certain points on the inside. Now those points should be to right here and those two bolts at the top. Now because this one, I guess it could have heated and deformed, but I guess because went through whatever, or it's been in here so long, there was a lot of pressure at this point right here, and that's what just made that huge popping noise. Was that pressure being released? It feels like there's a lot of pressure right there too, and that's the point where it should have it. Yep. See, now that's how they should all go right there. They should all kind of just have that initial pop where the pressure's released, and then it turns out. And it may just be that this brace right here is a brace that they use for a different kind of head. It just so happened to kind of fit this, and they're like, hey, you know what? Let's use that one on there instead. Now, I'm not too worried about the nuts and bolts that come with this, because the kit itself comes with them as well. Although I do kind of want to keep them out of the bilge. love it. Another nice hot day in Missouri. And I got another half-hour live stream. Don't worry, guys, it's going to be over here soon. You won't have to see my ugly mug no more for a little bit. You know, this weekend, me and the family are going, well, me and the old lady are going camping. Love taking kids, but the kids aren't that great at it. They kind of hate it, and they make it really hard. And so, while it would be good to take them so that way they can get used to it and such, really right now we just need a relaxing weekend. It's been pretty hectic lately. So we're going to go camping without the kids this weekend, and then take them camping with us in the future. Oh, where's that? But I know I didn't want to drop it. It's all good, I'll find it. Let's see any more comments. I haven't been paying attention. Anybody else say anything? There we go. Oh, actually, Paul's taking them. I mean, you're more than welcome to take them next weekend if you want. All right, now, that's what it looks like inside one of these things with the impeller in there. And it's kind of crazy. This impeller really doesn't look half bad. I'll go ahead and set this water pump right back up there. Yeah, it's not in bad condition. It's actually in pretty decent shape. It's turned in the way it's supposed to be and everything. But this guy is nice and cautious. He likes to make sure everything's done in a certain time period, so that way he makes sure he doesn't have any issues in the future. But as you can see, new, old, new, old. It's not in that bad a condition. It's just actually set in the direction that the pump takes it. So it's not that big of a deal. But as I said, this guy likes to have his stuff changed out. And in order to do this job properly, doesn't matter whether it's good or not, you do it anyways. Now what I'm doing there, as I said, this thing's too small for it, so you have to force turn it in there. And it really doesn't matter what direction you set it in. Once that seawater pump turns, it will turn all these fins the way it needs them to go. So we sit there and we get a little rough with it, turn it in there. Seated real good. Okay, now that that's seated in there, we can take this guy right here, and we want to take this plate off right here, because this is, even though it's metal and it's still in good condition, they send a new one. And so, since there's a new one, we might as well use it. Now, it's very important you pay attention to which side you put down, because there is an important side. You see this side? It's got sharp edges on it, but this side, nice, soft, pretty ones for that impeller. Nice, soft, clean ones. So we take this impeller, we find our flat edge on our seawater pump here, match them up, slide it on, and we play the game of turning this to where we need it to be, which is right there actually. This, that up here. It's hard to find places to stand and talk to you guys in here. Well, it's just you still, Maggie, but you know what I mean. Hard to find a place to put my foot up around her. Like they don't want the guy to relax or something. Alrighty. Now it's time to turn these in. Oh crap, I almost forgot about that. There's an O-ring in there. Oh, there's no O-ring in here. That's funny. There was an O-ring, it just didn't want to come up. Now the thing about this O-ring is you definitely need to make sure it's seated correctly, so you want to follow it all the way around with your little pick tool. I know this stuff really is boring you, but I appreciate the views. I did it for the views, that's what I did it for. Nothing more than the views, I'm a view whore. Man, you say I'm a trooper for making it in this heat. I'm obviously not making it too well because messing up here. Almost forgot that. Freaking whatchamacallit. The whatchamacallit. That's what I forgot. The whatchamacallit. Alrighty. Well, this is just basically a reverse process, so I'm not going to put you guys through it. So, Maggie, I appreciate you joining in. What's that? I didn't get to see that there. Oh yeah, I plan on teaching Brecken the mechanic stuff. I mean, you know, he wants to be mechanically inclined and he loves cars. You know, I kind of want him to have a chance to do his own thing with that also. But you know, as far as Trinity goes, I want her to learn enough to where she doesn't have to depend on a guy to do stuff for her, so that way she's not stuck in bad situations where she has to keep a guy around to keep things fixed. She can do stuff herself. Make her own choices in life without a guy making them for her because he has to be around to save her. That's one of the biggest things I want to give the kids is the idea that you don't have to be dependent. You can be completely independent. You can say fuck this world and its rules. Because honestly, the world's crap now. It's gone to shit. And we got such an identity crisis in America. It's wrong to be yourself. Like, it's wrong to say, oh, I'm a straight American and I'm proud of it. I'm a straight white American. Don't tell the Democrats I said that. I'm trying to get some of them to watch my channel too. Yeah, this. That really doesn't surprise me, honestly. I'm not surprised in the least, Maggie. I mean, heck, I can't tell you how many times Jody's calling and having me save her. That's mainly because she doesn't understand how to work on her own vehicle. She's never taught. You know, I feel like that's a basic thing. You should teach your kids understand how to work on your at least know how to do the basic stuff, so that way if something happens on the side of the road, you can get yourself somewhere. But as I go through and work on this channel, man, this thing is like bad angle. I think this is the wrong housing for this kit, because everything is just so off. It's the right kit compared to the old housing, but this plate does not put pressure in the right spots. Try to pull it a little bit. Pressure in the right spots. All right, I'm going to struggle with this for the next probably half hour, and get the other one in the next half hour after that, and struggle with it for another half hour. I could probably do that. I can go through a few of those videos. I'll teach the kids and do a video of me teaching the kids, so everybody else can learn too, if I can keep the kids' attention long enough. But I guess this is where I'm going to sign out. Max, thanks for the suggestion on video. I will definitely more than likely do that in the future. I've got to do the brakes on the Oldsmobile, the drum brakes. So anybody who's still got drum brakes, tune in for that. I'll definitely do a video on that, because those things are interesting. People hate them. All mechanics have always hated them because there's springs everywhere and this and that. So I guess that's going to be the next real video I do, is going to be me doing drum brakes. But as for right now, I'm going to get this done and get my full concentration on this so I can get out of here. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hit that like, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, you know, all that other good stuff that all the other YouTubers say. Buy my merch at idon'thavemerch.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.